Recorded to this computer. All right.
I've never
I'm trying to join with the second window just in case.
You have to like
Comcast.
write the minutes in a specific way, right?
It's not verbatim. The minutes can be kind of a general what was happening in discussion, but definitely recording of who made any motion or
The action
agreed to the
items.
motion- action items, agreed to the motion and seconded the motion, and then the vote.
Well, I think if you record it then, and we're very clear of who's doing what, then Michelle probably could write them up at a later date.
There you go. She'll be thrilled.
Yay! Okay, cute. Because I'm supposed to be watching this kitten too, kind of. I'm like, where's the kitten?
Uh-oh.
Oops, back there.
Okay, well, we'll record it and hope for the best. Make sure it's going to my computer. All right, Elzer?
Okay, well, given that we're recording and we'll be sending that recording along, let's go back to the minutes from June. So we can look through these. Do I have anybody wanting to make a motion to approve these minutes, or do we need to continue reviewing them?
I move we approve the minutes. I'm good.
Yeah, second.
Who's that?
Okay, so we have a motion by Mary, seconded by Paula, to approve the minutes in June. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to the treasurer's report with Vicky.
I sent those off. There's really no big surprises. We got the last half of the grant, 52,000. And our art sales is going up a little bit. Anybody have any questions on it, or? I don't really have.
Have we sold
anything.
anything on the virtual gallery? Has that made any, or people are at least coming in to buy the artworks?
Guess what? I have to answer that.
So I would say we sold Angela's Hear No, See No Evil, Speak No Evil painting online, but that was in April.
Mhm.
And also the Heart piece by Galen Saunders. We've also sold pencils online. That's, the Black Wing pencils, those sell online. But mostly if it's art sales, it's in person. People are coming in. The online gallery is a good example of if people want to know what might be at the gallery, what artists are there, then they'll look at that and then they'll come in and shop themselves.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Vicky. Unless there's any questions, does somebody want to make a motion to approve our financials?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion by Denny, seconded by Paula. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. The motion carries. Let's move on to the operations report.
Okay, hold on. Just making sure no one's sitting in the waiting room. Right. Okay. The gallery is open still, nothing has changed. We're still, carrying the hours between Thursday, Friday, 12 to 4, Saturday, 12 to 2. I think we've had better in volunteer availability from April, May, June. And I think July is struggling a little bit. A lot of people are traveling. So I'm glad we didn't extend those hours back to the regular times. I think one major change that happened in June was, the state opened up completely. So we have just stuck with as for mask mandate, we just sticking to CDC rules. So that affects a little bit the volunteers as well as customers coming in. So there's really, if people are vaccinated, they are welcome to not wear a mask, but if they're not vaccinated, they should be wearing a mask according to CDC. So it's basically an honor system. And I think customers are okay with that. Some people come in and are a little bit concerned. Some people, are very happy that, they're welcome to take off the mask. And so far, volunteers haven't had any trouble with customers being any bit aggressive. There was a little bit of that in April, but not so much now. I know that mask mandate's going to maybe affect the youth program a little bit, but we'll kind of keep an ear out to see what we'll do about that. I will need, I think, help staffing if it continues to be where the afternoons are empty. And maybe that's a situation where we start closing at 2 or closing at 3. But I will keep you posted on that. I do want to send out a survey to members and volunteer, or send out a survey to the members regarding volunteering their time outside of just staffing the gallery, whether that's helping out with committees or helping doing outreach events or something like that. I think the members, as much as they want to see the gallery open, they want to see programs happening. So I want to reach out to them about that. There is no update regarding parking. As for the building itself, everything seems to be in a working order. AC is working. The bathroom seems to be okay, but there's still every once in a while like a tiny leak. So I'll have to figure out what's going on with that. And then for the update with Saigon, or not Saigon, Sakura Catering, I will send out pictures later this evening. I forgot to put them on here, but they've got everything gutted out and they're ready to put drywall up, and they're paying on time. It's just, they say July is their time to open. I'm thinking it's more going to be August, September, but that's just me. And yesterday we did have our book signing for Annie Mac for her book, Badass Picks with a Cheap Ass Camera. And we had about 34 people show up for that event. She sold about 5 books and had a few extra books signed by people who already purchased them. So that was a good event. And that was during the pop out on the mile. So there was probably 100 plus, 200 plus people on the mile yesterday. And it was just a steady stream of people, even though it was hot. I will say, if we were having a co-event at the same night, it's just really hard to find any bit of parking. So
yes, that's true.
yeah, so I think like it would be good to be open and like having small activities happening. But if we're trying to make sure that people are able to stay long and visit, that's probably not the best time to have those events. So, Paula,
Did you get my book signed?
I did,
Yay.
and it
I
was in my
didn't
bag.
think-
And I
and
saw you and I didn't give it to you.
Okay, well, because you didn't, I wondered if you were able to. So great. I really love the book. And I posted not only when I bought mine, but also reading it is delightful. I don't know if you've had a chance, but it's just a great read from cover to cover, as well as interesting in terms of how she visually sees the world. It's a great book.
Yeah.
I got mine. Yes.
Yeah. And what was funny, it was because of the title, it was really hard to advertise the book on Facebook.
Oh, because of the title.
Yeah, it got flagged. And
Oh.
I couldn't promote it. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's weird.
Words
But,
have come to that. Oh.
Yes.
What
And
was the title again? I saw the event, but I forgot the title.
Badass Pics with a Cheap Ass Camera.
Oh, damn.
I mean, there are so many worse words than that.
True, but yeah, so Facebook said no, and they didn't take our money. Let's put it that way for the Facebook ads, but that's okay. We did actually have several musicians stop by and realize we have a piano, so people are looking to do live events, music events of some sort. So I think we should take advantage of that before everything else opens up. As for Vicky.
Yeah, I just want to say, as far as parking, I mean, we didn't have a hassle parking, 3 blocks away.
True.
I mean,
Yeah.
there really is a lot of free parking if you're willing to walk,
Yeah, but
Yeah, you cut through the alleyway. That's
some
what I
of
did.
our members who were interested in coming, they just couldn't walk that far.
yeah.
So I think they just decided, they thought about it, didn't come out, and then there's a few people I think who came and just gave up and went home. But who's Ezekiel? Oh, never mind. I know who that is. Like, why is a 6-year-old trying to join our Zoom meeting? This is B. I'll wait for B to jump on. As for anything else related operations, it's been kind of a normal month. So nothing too exciting to add in.
I'd like to add, the gallery looks good, Jessica. We were there this morning with Cecily. I was there with Cecily, and all that stuff is cleared out. It looks really nice.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just hauling more things to the garbage.
Yeah. Really.
So we have the camera now up to date, the alarm system.
Which camera?
I thought the new Lewis camera that we got, is it running?
The exterior camera? Was that the last thing I mentioned about that?
I think the last one you bought, right, and you were supposed to have installed.
Oh, yes. I installed that, a while ago.
So
I
it's
guess
working and,
it is working. It's points to the back door, so that does help. It's on a solar panel, so it's constantly recharging. I always get a message it's low battery, but in summer I think we're just fine. I haven't noticed any issues. We did catch when all the fire departments, all the fire engines came through for the
right, yeah.
theater. But that's nothing exciting has happened to our building. Oh, one thing about operations. So our window washer, Gabriel Gallardo, he's back. And we've continued our contract with him till the end of the year. So the windows should be nice and clean. He just came by today and it's nice and sparkly, which helps because I don't know, there's because we have construction on both sides of us, there's just so much dust. So like it's constantly like sweeping things away from the door. But hopefully Starbucks will be done end of July. Sakura will be done July, August. So it'll be nice.
And I'll be doing the Zoom meeting for the business watch. Is there anything that you feel that has happened that needs to be reported? No vandalism or anything like that?
Not for us. I mean,
Great.
there's the typical garbage left out, which I don't think is really much to complain about.
Okay.
But besides that, there was like a broken limb or, it's a splitting limb on one of the trees out front. So I encourage you probably not park there. I asked that the maintenance crew cut it. But I think they got the report, looked at it. It's like, well, it's not going to break yet. And they're going to cut it. So it's up to you guys if you want to park in front of the gallery. Is that Creighton Myrtle right there? But that's about it.
Okay.
On the topic of staffing, just really quickly, it seems to me that if the Starbucks is going to be opening up soon and the restaurant next door is going to be opening up soon, it would be good if the gallery was able to be open in those afternoons as well. I'm wondering if there's a way maybe to reach out, maybe something on the Calligraph or just another call out to the member base. It's like, hey, it's been a while, but we're kind of opening up again and all this and that. Something like that, maybe just try to encourage the members to jump back in.
Right. And part of it is also my calendar keeping this last month was, we did a kind of an unusual change out and the calendar wasn't very clear. So, I mean, I understand that was partly on my part, but trying to get enough people to switch over to a digital calendar would be great, but I know some don't want to use it that way. So I have to actually still have a desk calendar.
Okay.
Is there anything in that you could use support with from anybody on the board? Or
actually, probably one thing we can do, at least from the board and committee standpoint, is starting to transfer some of that information to a digital calendar through Google Calendar or something like that would be helpful. So that way, as programs start picking up, we know who's going to be at the gallery at what times. That way there's no crossover. And then as we do that, then maybe the volunteers will also appreciate seeing that calendar and getting the members to use that calendar so they're not calling, when's this event happening? I didn't see it in the Calligraph. They can actually go to a calendar for the website and say, got it, that's what's happening.
Is that a software program that we insert into the website, an app, or?
I'll double check to see what widget we would need if that's what we would do, or if we just put in a link. But I would probably just go with Google Calendar at this point, unless there's something else that's a little bit better.
And then
Because it's not a paid event, and we wouldn't be software.
Then you'd have to educate all the staff for the Google Calendar, correct?
Uh,
So they would be able to access it.
yeah, it would be like a link. So it would be like Stockton Artley Google Calendar, click on it, and it'll
Perfect.
take them there.
Easy
And
enough.
with an option to print it if they wanted.
Perfect. Okay.
What about hiring a part-time staff person to staff the gallery?
That is a possibility. We could put out a call for hire.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Mhm.
If we feel it would be worth it and, it would pay for itself by being open.
Mhm.
I want to support that as well. I was thinking that, but I feel like I've kind of been saying the same thing for a while, which it would be nice to hire someone on staff to both like be open in the afternoons, so like gallery sitting as well as running some of the initiatives that we have, because I feel like we have a lot of work we want to do, and then it needs someone who that's their job instead of like something that they do a couple times a month.
Yeah,
The loan that we got, can we use that for paying someone?
yeah, you can use that for payroll.
Well, it might be a good way to spend it, but that might be something we want to consider. Not unless we can get, a real healthy, volunteer base of maybe 10 people or more that are, really gung ho to volunteer.
I would say even with volunteers, like as an institution, like we have the responsibility and power to facilitate more jobs in the arts in Stockton. And if that's something we can do, even like with a little more like shifting of resources or allocating, I personally would really value and encourage like us to do that.
I might find some students willing to do some part-time work.
Paula
Yeah,
has
Paula's the inspo here. Paula hires like all the peoples.
I
That's
think
right, Paula.
I would be helpful to basically just run a short spreadsheet, figure out what it would cost to hire somebody for so many hours a week, so many hours a month, and let it be known, look, your job is to work on the initiatives 4 and 3 and 2, either the arts hub or the calendaring or whatever. You're to make phone calls and sit the gallery and assist in any way possible, but then create a break-even point. If you sold 2 pieces, or you're costing us $1,500 a month. We need you to, we need to sell $1,500 worth of art, or we need to sell $1,000 worth of art, and just get the person thinking about it, because even grant writers are told when they come on board, you have to raise your own salary. Directors of organizations often have to raise their own salary. So it's an opportunity, but it's exciting. And if someone wants a startup job in the arts, it's certainly attractive. The more art jobs we have, the better it is. And I know there's people around that are more interested in visual arts than, music, and they're out there. But it would be good to do just a little quick spreadsheet first and say, if we hired a person, then the negative aspect is just they always cost more than you think. They cost time in setup and in training. And if you get somebody that quits after 3 months, you've invested all that time and energy in them. You definitely want someone who's going to stick around. And you also have all the payroll taxes that go with it. So it's never just what it seems. But I mean, I would support thinking about it if you could run the numbers.
Yeah, I also reached out to Delta College, the 100 interns project they're trying to do. I reached out to the person they said to contact, and I never heard back. I'll try again, but that's basically to hire somebody at $15 an hour, someone who's interested in that kind of economic space, to learn how to do something as an intern, but get paid as doing it. And it's a grant to cover their whole salary, but it also, kind of hopefully will generate more internships throughout the community the next few years.
I support that.
Yeah.
It's like a subsidized way of making that happen.
And Rising Sun has an externship opportunity. So that's a paid position. That's from September through October. And they're like looking for positions for that. So I can kick that application your way. And you can make a position there. They're paying the folks $18 an hour.
Is that Stockton Strong Facilitator a paid position that Keegan is leaving? Just as an aside, it's a tangent too.
I think it's rolling up, but I wasn't sure if it was actually an opening.
Hmm.
I wasn't
That's
sure.
my understanding as well.
Okay.
Well, yeah. With all of that being said, should we try to land on a deliverable for the next board meeting? Something like maybe we should in the next board meeting follow up on this idea of hiring the person to staff the gallery, and have a sense, so we can grapple with like what the hours would be. Some of these questions that Paul was bringing up as well. Does that seem like a good?
I am open to suggestions, but at the same time, I have to work with them. So I would rather take the lead on this one. But
Okay.
I'm open to suggestions on how to fund their position and added extra times. I'm just stating that at this point, the staff in the gallery part, there is a lack in it due to people traveling. But we do need these other initiatives kind of carried forward. So some of those could be, graphic designers with a background there, with an interest in community development. Some of those might be event planners with an interest in the arts specifically, but kind of a specialized position.
And staffing can also be a secondary responsibility for somebody who comes in to do graphic design or marketing or
Right.
X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So I can appreciate that point. Maybe from right now, it's just let's see if the staffing continues to be an issue over the next month, and then we address it. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, with that said, let's move on to the committee reports. We can start with the marketing, publicity, and airport report with Denny.
Okay. If you want to bring that up. Primarily, things that really haven't changed that much from the previous month in terms of the numbers that have been on Facebook. But what we've added to is information for the community to know what's going on. And the information too is about the youth art program. So, and then the Colograph was for June, and then that's done. I don't know if you're thinking of doing one every month or every other month, but the one for June is out and it's very good.
I'd like to get back into that monthly routine pretty soon. As
Right.
events start happening.
And then the information I added to is about the Art Communication Hub. We had our last meeting June 21st. It wasn't attended as well as others. I don't know quite why, but we're doing the survey. That information will be going out. And our next meeting, is it July 19th? I'm trying to remember what we settled for that.
I believe I put it on the agenda.
Okay.
On the wrong section, but the next one up for the 19th, but we did not have a designated time yet.
Okay. And then also too is the survey. I saw it's on the Google site. The weird thing is it was a bunch of gobbledygook, and I needed at least to put in another type of program that finally opened it up. And I tried to send information back to you and submit that. So I don't know if you got that or not.
I will double check.
Okay. So that's what's going on with the Art Hub. And then trying to get more people involved and at least start and doing at least some particular goals that we talked about. Okay, that's my report.
I want to just quickly add, I got an email from somebody who was interested in our ceramics program, and they found the asset maps on our website, and they were talking about how great it was that that information was available. And a lot of that came out of the meetings that were happening through this Arts Communication Hub. So I just want to throw that out there really quickly. Thank you, Denny.
Oh, okay. And also too is, I saw Benjamin yesterday. He wasn't able to attend the meeting, but he asked to have the video sent out to the other committee members. So if you could do that, I don't have that on my Zoom since you are the coordinator of that, Jessica.
And,
So
and,
if
we,
you could
and we
please-
recorded that one, right?
I thought you did.
I think so. I'll check.
Okay, okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Denny. Unless there's any questions, we can move on to the youth art program report with Mary.
Okay, yeah, thank you all for the work you did helping advertise, all of you, Danny, everybody. We're full. Of course, we only are taking 8 people, but we were full a week ago.
Wow, great.
Some wonderful students are coming back that have been with us forever, and it's just really exciting. The instructors are so excited to see these kids come back, and so everything's going well. They start the 19th, of course. We have 3 new instructors, Lynn Harriet, Eliza Eberhardt, and Alicia Gonzalez. Youngsters who have some great new ideas, ecological art, if there is such a term, but they're just really interested and committed to committee work and the community work that we do. We're thinking of having a booklet instead of a reception, and Lynn Harriet is good with that sort of thing. So we're going to take the best pictures and quotes from the kids about their best pictures and then put them in a little booklet. And then Martha's going to do a little video of the same booklet that we could put in the gallery.
Well, that's great. I like that idea.
And the booklet will have the instructors' names, the students' names, and the helpers' names, and the Student Art League, Stockton Art League, and the Stockton Arts Commission. Kudos to everybody. So that's something they can keep. And then B has joined me as co-chair. So we're working in tandem together, and it's working very well, as always. And we're so appreciative of B's efforts, and she's so supportive. We took inventory of the supplies this week. We put in about 14 hours talking to the instructors, making sure they have their supplies and times and helps. We revamped the cabinet, took out things we don't need on a weekly basis, and stowed them. We're going to have a little table for giveaways. So if you want to give out, if you send some stuff our way, after the class, we're going to say, no, you students, you can go to the giveaway table and pick up, watercolor pencils or, things that we won't be using at all. Let me see. There's a good question here. I don't know. If we do go to a reception afterwards, we're not going to do one this week, this session, because we're pushing it. But if, say, we did a reception in June next year or after each time, maybe the board could help do the refreshments and the setting up. And we would do the setting up of the foam board pictures. And so for all of you who haven't been to a reception, we put up all their artwork and summaries of the process, and the kids tell about what they did. It's quite nice. But if maybe the board could back us up with the food and alleviate us with that particular.
I think that's fine. That's a good idea. Just spread out the, amount of different tasks that need to be done. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
And it would be a way for the board to be part of it. Let me see. Apropos of this, somebody mentioned we should have a first aid kit in the gallery. Do we have a first aid kit?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
It's in the drawer, but I'll get a new one because we might need to update that.
The Band-Aids.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
Paper cuts.
Just quickly, I really do want to show you.
Yeah, let me open it up for you, Mary. Hold on. Right now.
Okay, and is Bea on? I see her grandson's name.
He's on audio.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm listening. I really can't do a lot because I'm driving home,
Drive safe.
but
Yes.
yeah, but I've been on for maybe 15 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, did you
Okay.
have a question?
No, but chime in if you want, fill in something I missed or just add information.
Yeah, not at this time. I can't think of anything.
Sounds good. Here's the, just wanted to show you all the schedule. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
So there you have some really good stuff coming along the line here. Eliza's going to do a poetry collage with the kids. It's hard to explain, but she can take a poem and then they're going to illustrate it. It's going to be cool. Stephen's going to do his cartoons, Martha's crayon and watercolor. So glad to have Martha back. Just talked to Cecily. She's going to do a bird and a fish, and it sounds simple, but it really is quite fine. Good fine work she's doing. And then Alicia is going to do a bottle cap mosaic with dark and light bottle caps and create a mosaic on the floor. And she's going to bring in a lot of ecological information about the planet and what lasts and what doesn't. And then just like your monks doing their mandalas in sand, will destroy it. So that's our report so far. I think I've covered everything. And I'll bring you back to.
Yeah, I think that, Mary?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm here.
Yeah, about the bottle cap art, it's going to be a temporary thing, but it is going to be recorded in the form of a photograph, and
Right.
then that will be displayed.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
Great. Well,
So,
yeah, thank you, Mary. That program looks really exciting. The Art League has got a lot to offer in the next.
I think
couple months.
so. I think they're, yeah,
That program's amazing, and I love the instructors you have.
they're good people.
I have a kind of a random question. Does anybody know where the airplane came from?
It's up by the bookcase.
Yes. It's a model airplane, giant model airplane.
Oh, where that came from?
Yes.
It was something that was donated, and I didn't know quite what to do with it. So,
Okay.
so I don't know what we want to either use it in terms of
Hang it from the
a
ceiling.
gift, or I don't know.
Was it donated intending for the youth program, or was it just they just
It was
dropped
just a
it off
straight donation. It was
from?
sort of like right in the front with a little thing saying, use this. So I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
Well, it was
ours.
sitting on the piano, and I was like, "Did
Yeah.
someone leave their toy?" I'm like, "It's
Yeah.
it's huge." So
Yeah.
somebody tried to buy it the other day, and I didn't know
Oh,
whose it was.
whatever we want to do with it.
Okay.
Model
Okay.
airplane. I mean, isn't it World War II? Vintage?
Yes,
plastic, it's
it's a
plastic.
bomber. It's an old, I don't know if it's current or not, but it looks like it's a World War II vintage
Yeah.
With accessories.
props. Yeah.
So that is now donated to the youth program.
Okay.
Mary, do as it with you will.
I'm doing it in the raffle
How much
too.
are you trying to buy it for?
I don't think they were serious. I think they just wanted a big toy.
Oh, okay.
I'll take a picture of it for my son. He's a pilot.
Okay.
It's on the bookcase right now if you check it out next
All
time.
righty.
Cool.
All right.
Well, are there any other questions or little comments? If not, then we'll jump into the initiative report section of the meeting. As usual, I'm just going to go through and say the name of the initiative, and then if there's anything to report, feel free to say so. And if there's nothing, if you could just go ahead and say no update, I'll just keep us flowing through. So Initiative 1, Multi-Day Art Symposium.
Nothing new.
Okay.
But I'm gonna stick the Hagen Museum 2020 or 2022 show into the multi-day symposium since they will both be in April. So figure.
That makes sense. The
That'll be better.
logistics will like kind of tie together.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So I have a question. We are going through with this symposium idea.
We got the grant for it, so
Super.
we have $10,000 or $20,000 to use on it.
Wonderful.
not
And
including
That's
sponsors.
great. That's
where are we
great.
gonna hold it?
Is there anybody
Nice,
who's gonna match the
congratulations.
10?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you get anybody to match the 10?
Not yet, but we can still have sponsors. So we've got, we had to commit a matching 10, which we use from operations, which could include the Lendistry 5,000, 3,000 from Stockton Strong, doing the grant projects, and we'd still be covering our operations going through the year. So that's the 8 right there. We could use, because we're not going to continue, we're going to do it in 2022. We cannot use the Stockton Arts Commission money to offset any of the workshops, but also we could claim any in-kind donations as well towards that $10,000 match. But ideally, we would go out and find sponsors to match the other 10.
So it's less than a year away.
Yes.
Oh, well, is there a committee for it, or has anybody started it, or?
We are still working on the committee part, being like, I'm supposed to set up a meeting with Mary, and then I don't know who else was interested in being on that committee.
I think B was.
B, Mary?
Yeah, I could be on that committee.
Where is it gonna, do we have any idea where we're gonna hold it, or nothing?
I think
beside-
that would be in our discussion as in the committee meeting, but my suggestion to that committee was going to be having multiple locations host.
Oh, okay.
To go around through town, and also take some of the pressure off of having one large facility for a multi-day event. So if you spread it out over, kind of how they do the Arts Week in Stockton, there's all these events happening throughout town, and you can say what that location's doing and keep it on an events calendar and encourage people kind of like do like the passport activity. You're going to go from one place to another, learning different aspects of the arts in town. And then there's also in the budget to have these host locations get funded for their time. So it would be just on the Art League to host it.
Is this something that we're is in the budget to put out a open call for a coordinator, or is that something that is gonna go to you, Jessica, or the committee is gonna be all volunteer? What does that look like?
In the group, we'll go over the proposed budget. So there is an actual budget listed out of coordinators and space usage for
Okay.
different places. So they can split it. They can, I think I broke it down, like there's like $1,000 at location, so they can split it between people cost or space cost. It's up to them.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm interested in at least here, like attending some initial committee meetings. I'm not sure if it's something I can commit to, but I would like to at least have the option.
I've got a comment that it might be safe for the committee meeting, but let me throw it out. I had at first I had envisioned one site with many areas, rooms, say, for meetings, and then you could go attend the meeting of your choice, and you could have your presenters, and then you could have your community meetings of all the art people there. And the people who run it could be not just us, of course, but maybe a representative from some of the local major art centers in Stockton. Just a side comment. So something to think about.
Was there a specific location, Mary, you
What's
said?
that?
Was there a specific location that you said?
Well, if it's in April, it couldn't be a college probably, unless if it's over a weekend, we might be able to get space at Pacific or Delta or some other place that would have maybe even that Jagged Line Center, or if we went ahead and had, if all things were perfect and we had the Philomathian, we could do it there. Just some ideas, because I just, once again, this is just a comment that might be saved, so stop me if you want. But I'm thinking if people are going all over town, you're going to lose the continuity. And the whole idea is to get all of the art people in Stockton together in one place and exchange ideas and excitement for coming programs, and making art good in Stockton and making it count for education for all our initiatives that we're trying to expand on.
Well, I see this as like a festival kind of thing. So in the way that there's, many stages at a festival, and there's, maybe like the main stage, but then there's also other things that are happening so that it speaks to like the core and then the surrounding network. I think there's space for both of these ideas to exist together, where there's sort of like a primary venue for this primary events, but also working through the community to have.
Oh,
Good idea.
I feel like all the discussion about locations and stuff can happen with the committee, right?
Yeah, definitely. But that's a good idea, Elazar, definitely.
Mary, I do agree with you. Networking's important in person.
Is being recorded. Who's Ezekiel?
that's B.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I got home. I'm using my laptop and my phone right now. I'm trying to turn off the phone.
AT&T is killing us. Okay, so is there any more discussion to be had around the initiative number 1?
Vicky, had you finished?
I just wanted to say that I agree with you, Mary, of having a central location where people can network in person. I do think that's important. Instead of, and I also think Elazar, that in tangent with things happening around Stockton.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea, is the fact that we are so isolated with our little places. And so we get together. Yeah, anyway, like you say, we can continue this as needed.
Great. Anything to report on initiative 2, expansion of the Goodman Gallery?
Nothing for me.
Oh, I seem to be saying more than I should tonight, or usual. I was driving down to the gallery this morning and looking at all those great little wrought iron fences around all the venues, the merchants' places, and I thought, why couldn't we put out a little fence, a little wrought iron fence, and we could put in some potted plants and maybe a palm tree, or I don't know. It's just an idea.
Mhm. We tried to get that grant, how Sakura or Saigon at the time got their fence. That was a CARES money act to put outdoor seating for those restaurants at that time. That's why those all happened. So far, none of them had to be removed because of spatial or city permitting issues. I know there were some issues with not enough space. They got a rush putting them in there. Those are about $10,000 to $15,000 to put in. But we were not eligible because we didn't serve food.
Got it.
Yeah. So we kind of had an idea of how much it would cost.
Okay.
Okay. Fair. Thank you for that. Initiative 3, Arts Communication Hub.
I provided that information with my marketing, but I wanted to see that thing July 19th time to be announced. That's for the Arts Communication Hub, correct, Jessica?
Correct. I was typing on my phone and it jumped to the next one.
Okay. And then the survey that you've done, I've gone in and I've at least seen that. And has that gone out yet? Or
it has not gone out yet. But when it goes out, then it'll go out a part of that July Callograph meeting or Callograph newsletter, as well as on Facebook and Instagram. And I'll see if we can send it out to some of those other contacts we have.
Okay. So we'll have more to report after we have that next Zoom meeting on the 19th.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Initiative 4, Advocacy for Sustained Local Funding.
Well, the Arts Foundation continues to meet on a regular basis. We just had a meeting the first Monday of the month on the 5th of July, which was great that we got a quorum and we're able to continue our discussions. We are going to be meeting Tuesday, the 13th, I believe, at 9 o'clock. It's a small ad hoc committee to cross-reference all the language that we find in legal documents about the Arts Foundation's legal responsibilities to the Arts Commission and where a broadening of that concept to the greater arts community, how that can be made, because the discussion continues. What is the foundation? What will be the purpose goal of the foundation? Who's responsible for the endowment or funding the endowment? Where does the city fit in? How does the Arts Commission? That conversation just keeps going around and around. We've kind of narrowed it down to some specific language in two legal documents, the Articles of Incorporation and the bylaws, and some more internal communication that came up later that broadened the purpose. And we're going to have to meet and put it back to the board, and then basically try to nail down what is going to be going forward in our push for the restoration of the endowment, because we have to nail down what the relationship with the Arts Commission is going to be. And the material that I just sent out to the committee for Tuesday was material I sent out a year ago, April. So this is, I'm feeling like it's Groundhog Day.
Wow.
It keeps coming up and coming up. But in any case, I have to ask you, Elazar, when is our next meeting with Moses? Because I don't have that on my calendar.
Have it written down on a piece of paper at home, and it's in my calendar. Let me get out of the Zoom.
Okay, so I wanted to report at this time that I will be out of California from the 17th to the 24th. So that week, I will not be available. Doesn't mean you couldn't go forward with Moses and whatever you're going to do, and you might be able to report what we're going to do on Tuesday, report out Tuesday's meeting, but I don't have a way to participate the following week. I don't know when our meeting is. I couldn't find it on my own calendar.
I have a feeling it might be that 19th.
Yeah, my brain is saying 19th also.
Okay, well, then I certainly will not be able to participate.
Okay.
So I saw that 19th, and then I thought, and now that the other meeting was the 19th, I didn't know whether that stood or not, because I didn't happen to have it on my calendar.
Mhm.
But anyway, so that's my report. It's
Paula, is there any connection with Initiative 6 as well for the endowment fundraiser / campaign related with Community Foundation of San Joaquin?
I don't know why that is. I mean, it's a cross-sector arts campaign, because I think the San Joaquin Foundation is not going to limit it just to the art foundation. They're going to have a 209 gives that is for the arts. And so that would, as far as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Elazar, but I think it will be to support the arts in whatever fashion people want to, the endowment being one aspect. I don't think it's for the endowment per se.
Okay.
However, Moses has talked about creating a fundraising event specifically for the foundation as well, looking into that, and I thought he would probably report that out at the next meeting. So there's two things going on there. We are looking at a timeline for the big ask. Elazar, why don't you go into that timeline with the fall, spring, and next year's ask?
Yeah, sure. So the idea here is that, and I am seeing that this is actually listed below in Initiative 6. So when it comes time to touch on this, I'm not going to reiterate any of what I'm saying now. But there's a big goal that we're trying to reach, and we're breaking it down to 60% of our goal from the city, 30% from private institutions, and 10% from the public. So in order to get funding from the city, it has to be approved in their budget, and they have a budget meeting in July. So basically July 1st, 2022 is when the city council would approve the budget that has in it the changes that we would be proposing. So that is where we built our timeline around. So we're looking at in the fall to begin building sort of our targeted document. And then in the winter, the Community Foundation expressed that they may be able to have a Giving Tuesday that's solely for the Stockton art scene. or potentially for solely for the foundation. I was a little unclear as to which was being said or if it was still in discussion. And then come March, April, basically starting a public fundraiser as well as seeking commitment from the city at that time. So using that frame to start to build momentum around the city, the ask that we're bringing to the city. So when we talk about private institutions, we'll be talking about like the local banks and different foundations. Um, yeah.
I
That's
will
the
add that the original ask was to restore the 1.3 million, and now we're to 2.5 because that's the ask. That's what it is. Not only the money was lost, but what it could have, would have, should have earned. And it's very interesting because Jessica and I have gone through some more documentation that we have at Tuliberg because we maintain all the filing and all the everything related to the foundation there. We actually found commentary from staff about where they could find money and what they could dissolve the Arts Commission's endowment. I mean, we can watch the paper trail unfold when those decisions were made by city staff, and then having the whole thing lost. So it wasn't just losing the money in the bankruptcy. It's just kind of interesting that the kind of documentation that was maintained of every meeting that was had, the outcome of every meeting, the next meeting and the next meeting, and then the documentation of when staff started to report to council where they could find money when they took this. That's just neither here nor there, but it just keeps fueling my fire. But the ask is now 2.5 million. I want to make one point of clarification though, Elazar. The whole budget thing has to be done and presented. It doesn't happen July 1. That may be some kind of perfunctory meeting, but it's going to be done well before that. I mean, it will be the budget for 22, 23, and it will have to be, it'll be decided, as Moses pointed out, having had lots of experience on the council, starting next January, where all of the heads of the departments will get together and start advocating for certain things, and then the council will weigh in and so on. So by June or by July, when the fiscal year starts for the city, it'll be a done deal. It'll just be an announcement by that. But it does dovetail nicely with the Arts Symposium, because if we have a head of steam up by then, the Arts Symposium is going to be a fabulous way to announce the success up to that point, either with fundraising that's been done or promises that have been made or pledges that have been made, etc. So there's a lot happening that could really change the community in terms of the arts and arts funding. It's amazing.
All really exciting. I love the strategy.
So that's it for me. And basically, if the meeting is on the 19th, then Elazar, just know that I will not be able to be there. Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. Any other questions about that? Okay. We can move on to Initiative 5, creating partnerships along intersections of art. I guess maybe this would be the opportunity that I can discuss. There's a community navigator pilot program grant that's being released by the Small Business Administration, the Office of Entrepreneurial Development, and Hatch and the Art League and a couple other organizations are in discussions potentially to apply for this grant. It would be a big chunk of money, but it's like we're still trying to feel it out. I just wanted to put it on everybody's radars that the partnership that we're talking about would include Third City Coalition, Huddle Co-working Space, and Stockton Impact Corps. We'd be working with like the local chambers of commerce and stuff, and potentially trying to release more artist grants or something along those lines, thinking about stimulating the local economy through direct capital infusions. Anything, Jess, that you would want to add to how I just overviewed that?
I think this is just a good opportunity to showcase that arts is a vehicle of business. So it's not just a hobby or something to pass the day, or it's not just for the kids. So that opportunity is $1 million for our area to really redevelop the artist as a business, and to encourage emerging and professional artists to stay within our city. So the challenge with this is, they are asking for a specific hub and spoke model, so a wheel model. um, we know how to be a spoke. We know how to add our own interests, or do our speciality in these things. The challenge is having kind of a facilitator to go over the entire project, which is not the Stockton Art League. Um, I don't think it would be Hatch. It would have to be someone else who's some other organizations who enjoys the management side of it, so we can do the work we enjoy. Paula, you've got your hands up. You're on mute.
So the grant is entrepreneurial in general, and you're basically looking at it as a vehicle to talk about the economy of arts, because it's not an arts economy grant proposal, right? It's about entrepreneurial opportunities in general.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, the angle that I see is about the circular economy. And what we're doing is we're creating resources for the connective tissue of our economy, as well as providing direct stimulus into the different, say, nodes of the economy to encourage not only people entering the economy, but more flow.
No, I agree. I just think it's a good idea to apply for the grant just to get in front of their faces with that notion, whether it's approved or not, the very same way we keep applying for health money to introduce art components into health and recovery and wellness arenas where it hasn't been funded before. So that it might be a difficult grant to piece together, but Jessica put it on my desk recently, and I do think that even if we fumble through it and try to create something, at least they'll have to think about it. And it, again, the same way that the other people had to think about the arts in the wellness arena. I mean, I'm just saying it could be a long shot, but it's worth doing.
Yeah, they're awarding 100 programs nationally.
Nationally, yeah.
$100 million they're giving out.
Per program?
Overall.
Oh, it's $1 million divided by 100, so that's 100,000.
No. You said 1 billion, right?
Oh, $1 billion.
No, what did you sell it, Elzar?
$100 million.
Oh, 100 million. Okay.
Okay.
So,
you know what? Good.
It's exciting and it's scary, but such is life.
That's life.
That's all I have for Initiative 5.
Elzar, can you also present on the grant you submitted for the CDFI and clarify what is a CDFI in relation to the Art League?
The grant, okay, that was about this community land trust.
That was a different grant, yes.
Yeah, we didn't apply for anything about a CDFI. Just for clarification briefly, CDFI would be a community development financing institution, and that would be like a loaning body. And I think that's really far from where my personal interests lie. But we applied for that grant about a community land trust and a commercially oriented community land trust. So that was a research report that if we're awarded that grant, that would go from, it was like October to October, December to, we'd get the money in October, but we would run the program like from November to next November. And that would be about community land trusts, which are models of land ownership and long-term leases for entrepreneurs. So the connection that the Art League has is that the Art League is a long-term, locally run arts organization that owns its building and offsets the cost of operating with rental income from a restaurant, which is exactly what a community land trust is doing. So there's a lot of different moving pieces to the whole thing, and it's it's a lot. It makes my head spin a little bit, which is why the next step is to develop a research report. So we'll basically look at other cities that are in a comparatively similar economic situation to Stockton, as well as cities that have implemented commercially oriented community land trusts. Anchorage is one of the primary models that people look at. What's interesting, just as a quick aside about commercial community land trusts, is that it's sort of a more recent emergent application of the community land trust model. A lot of the research that's been written about community land trusts, you get a lot of things about residential, and then it starts talking about Section 8. A lot of the income models that you find, they're going to talk about renting to business, renting to renters, and how the homeowner will be able to generate value from the improvements and then be able to sell their share of the home back to the land trust. And that's how the system works there. So we're looking at a slightly different model of things. I don't know. There's a lot to talk about there. Sorry. It just kind of, the Art League is leading by example in this conversation. If there's any other questions, I'm more than happy we can connect at a later time and, talk for as long as you'd like to about this. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Well, then, Initiative 6, developing cross-sector arts campaigns. Is there anything to add there?
No.
Okay. Well, then we'll move on to additional business. We've got the Stockton Strong Artist Awards update.
I'll briefly say that we are in the home stretch on that one. We've printed, I think we're at 88 grants printed. So like 12 more left, I think. I know it's kind of lost track, but most of the awards have been sent out. Anything you want to add, Elzar?
Well, just great work to you, Jess. I want to acknowledge that when it went from 50 grants to 100, that became a lot more work on the bookkeeping side. So, moving forward, potentially it's like, I was thinking like, should it be like an admin per check or something? I was just thinking about that because, it's a lot, but it's almost there and it's been going great. So thank you.
Yeah, there should also be a follow-up report from participants that we'd like to be able to share for maybe as a tool for future funding. So I'm kind of excited about that survey that will also go out to those who are participating in that opportunity. And I can go down to the next section on the additional business, fiscal sponsorship, related to the community health grant, which we applied on behalf as a fiscal sponsor for CHI. That was the Creative Healing Arts Initiative group, the one that would be doing workshops throughout August to about July of next year. We were not awarded that a grant. I think speaking to what Paula was saying, it's good to put our projects out there in front of these other grant opportunities, even though it's not specifically arts related, but the arts do have a function within health. But they only awarded 7 out of, I think, 75 applicants in just the San Joaquin region. As for the next portion, the 3MCO, there's nothing new to report. We're just still researching. I did reach out to Denise Jefferson that we're in this process as a board. I have not gone out to our broker for insurance to ask what we would need for this particular task, being that it would be an ongoing relationship or until we choose to complete it, end it, or change it. Denny, do you have anything else to add?
No, not at this time. So we're just waiting to hear from at least the insurance company what issues they would even have if we were to pursue this then. Is that what you're looking for from the insurance company? Do you think it's going to be a go or not? Do you,
Well, there's two things that we have to address. It's what is our liability, especially with people on ladders doing murals, and half of them are paid, half of them are volunteers. You know, there's a difference on liability coverage when it comes to that. Even though we're just a fiscal sponsor, are we responsible for their actions out on the street? That's the question. So, you know, our broker can clarify that answer for us, but they just kind of like what our CPA does, they're interpreting the rules, and they can be wrong. So like we just need to know what we have to look for, because it might be on this one project that it's fine, but because someone changed their actions in a different project, then we become liable. I don't know. So I need to double check what's going on with that.
Okay,
Being
yeah.
that Third City Coalition, who is currently their fiscal sponsor, I believe they're okay according to what their insurance broker or their liability insurance says.
That was Jasmine Leak,
Correct.
right? Okay.
So and there was a specific wording for why it counted or didn't count. Additionally, due to the way that they're handling their grants projects right now is mostly falling on Denise. My concern at the moment is, what if Denise steps away at any point? Who is then responsible for managing the bills, basically how, you know, the invoices and the bills going out?
I'm going to be that person since I'm part of the coalition. So that was the thing that we had talked about yesterday's meeting. Also, too, they talked about having the artists get their own individual insurance. So one of the members, that's what she's doing now. So they're looking at maybe that's a better way to go to have things covered.
And just to clarify, so you will be sending out an invoice saying that this artist would need to be reimbursed, or this artist needs to be paid? Like, you're going to take that responsibility?
We would do it as what we did with Jasmine. That was my understanding.
Well, and I think that's, you know, just because we're in this board meeting, you know, there are functional ways to have these grants happen, and then there's sometimes when it makes a lot of extra work. So that's my concern.
Okay, we're open to your suggestions. That's the, you know, feeling, if since we're moving in this to have a sponsorship by SAL.
Right.
So that's something that we're awaiting to hear more information so we could proceed to make this successful.
Right.
Okay.
So those are the two parts. Like, you know, there has to be like how much workload is gonna involve to pay out the artist, because different grants work differently. So if it's a simple, you know, 1 month project, you start it, you're done with it. And then if it's a, you know, multi-month project and a lot of supplies or different artists, then it creates more bookkeeping. Just speaking on behalf of the Stockton Arts or Stockton Strong Artists grants that we did, you know, it was a simple project, and it got a little bit more complicated the more we increased the amount of checks. So if we have to create how to expand it if that's
Okay.
possible. The other thing is what was brought up between the last meeting and our current meeting. Least, you know, sitting also on the Stockton Arts Foundation, there are other organizations that are willing to be fiscal sponsors for groups that are not a 501c3, or groups that are just need some help with bookkeeping and everything like that. And the foundation has those resources to refer out to other groups.
Okay,
so I guess
we'd
this
be
is
open to that too, to look at all the different resources that are there.
right. So
Okay.
it's back to how much overhead do we want to bring into the Stockton Art League? I think it's a good project. So those are a couple of things that we'll have to discuss once we have those other two components to
Okay.
present.
Sounds good. Thanks for that update.
Yeah, that seemed a little bit long for a voicemail to Denise, but so I just figured we're just still, you know, deliberating.
Okay.
Just keep going further for July 21st public market. Lisa really wants to go for this thing. So I told her, hey, let's just put together a survey. If people want to sign up for it, go for it. To vend on the 21st. If our members want to participate, if non-members want to participate, that's fine, but they will need to fill out a survey. And if they want to sit out in the heat, they're responsible for their tables, chairs, tents. As I said, yesterday's event was great, just there's no parking. So if I was a vendor for this event, this was not be my first choice. But if somebody wants to sell work, that's great. We'll encourage that. Hopefully we can find some shade for them, but we're not responsible for their attendance, but we'll try to make it as pleasant as possible. Like maybe we'll bring in some ice water to the gallery. So if artists need to come in and cool off, they can. But it sounds like Lisa's already lined up people that she wants to bring into this event. So I'm a little bit more
Oh,
hands
okay.
off. So like if she's got people, that's great. Just to keep it consistent, where I'm not getting a phone call, when they've already called Lisa. We're just putting together this Google form that they can fill out, and we'll just keep it all in a spreadsheet. And then we know who wants to come and who's going to attend and who signed up but can't attend, kind of thing.
I think that's a good resolution. Yeah. Okay.
And then the next point is the Philomathian Club pros and cons. This needs to be a separate meeting, and I'm proposing that it would be July 14th. That's next week. Is anybody open to the 4 p.m. time? That would be a week from now. Same time as a board meeting, but on a Thursday, or same time as a board meeting Thursday following week. But
I can put.
okay, Mary.
I'm working that evening, but I don't think I think I'll be available at that point. If I'm not working, I'll be there.
Would it be better to push this to a little bit later?
No, I'm working later.
Oh, okay.
Like usually we start like around 6-ish, but this project we might be doing in San Jose, so I have to wait for the details.
Okay.
So I'll keep it where it is, and I'll come if I can.
Anybody else who wants to be on this discussion able to meet at that time?
I'll be out of town. I won't be able to make it, but that's fine.
I think I'll be able to meet. It'll be through Zoom, right?
Yes. Angie, I see you jumped in. Are you interested in being a part of this discussion on the 14th for the potentially accepting the donation of the Philomathian Club?
And you said the meeting starts at 4?
We could have it start at 4, but we can also bump it like a half hour maybe. I mean, I don't think it should take too long. I mean, I think we should go with our gut instinct of is a yes or a no, or, kind of give a few pros and cons. And if it's too much, then I understand too.
That's fine. Yeah, you can put me on.
Okay, yeah. It's just, we should make a somewhat of a decision if we're going to move forward. That way, it's been 2 months, almost 3 months that we haven't been able to meet, and that's partly me. But maybe Elzar, by that point, would we be able to get a proposal from BB and James, possibly?
Well,
Maybe.
I'll be happy to reach out and request it.
Okay.
I'll reach out right after this meeting.
Okay. Just by initial reaction, were they interested in that space?
My initial reaction was that they were interested and also a little scared. So I think originally, like the first call I had with them right afterwards, they were like, we're not sure that we'd be able to afford it because we don't know how much like you guys will need and how will we be able to make our profit. So I said, the same conversation we were having. If you can develop a business plan, that shows a clear understanding of how much income you could make and what your ability to, cover rent and still have your profit looks like, then we could start the negotiation there.
Okay. Ironically, I heard today that when we were about to purchase the building at 1902 Pacific Avenue, that they were also looking at the Philomathian Club as a potential gallery location for the original Stockton Art League space.
Really?
And yep. And the reason why they didn't pick it was because, that it was a little bit off the beaten path for Merchants District, for people to come and shop. And then there was the overhead of the cost of the building that needs fixing. But it was just interesting that someone had brought that up to me today.
Well, I would just like to make note of the fact that the Filmmaking Club is almost about halfway between Hatch Workshop and the Stockton Art League. It's the perfect, midpoint on the art tour. Hatch, Cooleyberg Press, go to the Filmmaking, get up to the Art League, ride a bike. We can make a whole Stockton wine and stroll or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah. So,
Love a show venue. Love it.
Okay, so is there anybody who wants to be a part of that meeting who didn't get acknowledged? Is there anything else that we should all talk about together? And if not, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn by Denny, seconded by Mary. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Well, that's it then. It's 5:27 and this meeting is drawn to a close. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Elzar, when will
Okay.
we have the next meeting?
The next meeting,
We're gonna keep it to the second
yeah, I guess,
Thursday?
does anybody have a problem if we keep this at the second Thursday of the month?
No.
Okay, the next meeting is going to be on the second Thursday at 4 o'clock. What day of the month is that?
That'll be August 12th.
August 12th at 4 o'clock. See you all. Unless the weather is too crazy hot, I will try to be down at the gallery so we can do hybrid style.
Super.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
stay safe and well, everybody.
You too.
I do.